Hello everyone, in this TRIC tutorial number 38 we will review the limitation of the vacuum tube, especially for the development of the first numerical calculator and the beginning of the solid-state physics study which imply to go in the quantum physics. The triode components appear in 1906, but the improved version done by AT&T was not before 1913. At the same time, the triode used to do an amplifier and oscillator was only in 1912. So we can say that electronic industry started few years before 1910. When we say electronic, this means radio and amplifier from 1908 up to after 1940. With the miniaturization of the vacuum tube, the first audio radio was done by Motorola in 1930. The electromechanical calculator, as Harvard Mark I, needs 3 seconds to do a 10-digit multiplication, and the improved version Mark II, it was almost 10 times faster, going down to 0.4 seconds. At the beginning of 1940, people started to build a numerical calculator with the existing electronic components, means vacuum tube and crystal diode. The ENIAC for Electrical Numerical Integrator and Computer construction started in 1944 and was operational 2 years later in 1946. They need more than 17,000 tubes, 7,200 crystal diode, 1,500 relay, 70,000 resistor, 10,000 capacitor, and 5 million of solder. The weight was 30 tons, power of 150 kilowatt, and the volume was 2.4 by 0.9 by 30.5 meter. 1 or 2 vacuum tubes fail each day. This means that a calculation could not be longer than 1 day. Of course, it was huge, but the result for the 10-digit multiplication dropped from 0.4 seconds to 0.001 seconds, which means 400 times faster. ENIAC has been stopped in 1955. At the end, they improved a lot because it could work without fail for 116 hours, means almost 5 days. Of course, that calculator was done for the research need. As AT&T were using a lot of tube amplifier for their phone line, they decided since 1930 to start in the Bell Labs the research on solid-state physics, with the target to find a solid-state component able to replace the triode. The electronic definition is a branch of physics that deal with the emission, behavior, and effect of electrons. In the vacuum tube, the electron movement is pretty easy to analyze. It is in the vacuum with an electrical field E and subjected to the electric force F equal QE. But of course, the analysis of the electron movement in a solid state, it is much more complex. In the crystal, the electron movement is not linear and more chaotic with a lot of shock. So, for example, in a DC current, we can just measure the average speed. So, to work on solid-state electronics, scientists need to do a deep dive in the crystal, atom, and quantum physics. After 1930, AT&T decided to start in its Bell Labs the research on solid-state physics. In this slide, I would like to highlight the more famous 4 scientists of the solid-state team. I will present them in order of arrival in the solid-state team. Russell Hall, the first one, was already working in AT&T and he moved to the Bell Labs in 1927. The second one to join the Bell Labs solid-state team is Walter Brattain in 1929. The third one, William Shockley, joined the team in 1936. The fourth one is John Bardeen in 1945. Russell Hall was an extremely bright student. He started at Pennsylvania University at the age of 16. In 1914, at the beginning of the First World War I, Russell was 16 years old. For its first radio broadcast, he heard a SOS from a boat which was attacked by a German submarine. At this time, the submarine could not reach the US coast, so it received this radio signal in Morse from the Europe coast with a long waves radio. Russell was working on certain type of crystal. Despite reservations among the management, they let him experiment new forms of semiconductor as germanium and silicon. Walter Brattain. His first job was as a radio engineer. Working on radio is not a surprise because, as I said in the slide number 3, up to 1940 electronic was radio at 95%. At Bell Labs, he worked on amplification. William Shockley, after his doctorate in quantum physics, he joined the Bell Labs to work on solid-state physics theory. More surprising, at Bell Labs he worked with James Fisk on the first nuclear reactor. John Bardeen was an extraordinary student. He started college at the University of Wisconsin and he got bachelor and master in 1928 and 1929 at 20 and 21 years old. We have to note that this team was working during the World War II. So during the war, all of them was requisitioned to work on the war effort. You can see that most of them was working on submarine detection, anti-submarine or torpedoes. The reason is that during the World War II, the German submarine could cross the Atlantic, and the US had a lot of issue because the German submarine was sinking plenty of boats starting from US East Coast to supply Europe with military equipment. I want to thank you for your attention. On my next Thierry Séquard tutorial number 39, we will talk about the Mendeleev table to analyze the different elements that the future semiconductor industry will use. So, see you soon and stay tuned.